In chapter 4, section 1, you are going to learn about antiderivatives and indefinite integration. So before we go into what those words mean or how you're going to be asked any types of questions, before I answer what these things are, let's start off with something that you all should know. You all, by now, after chapter 2, you should know how to find the derivative of functions. Okay? So if I asked you these four questions say, what's the derivative of, with respect to x, of 3x squared? What's the derivative of 3x squared plus 2? Derivative of 3x squared plus 6? 3x squared plus pi. You all would know what the answer is, correct? What is the derivative? Somebody, you whole class, go ahead, say it together. 6x. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Are they all the same derivative? Yeah. Good. So what we're going to do in chapter 4, and there is a big reason why later on, I'll show you when we get to the next section, but we're going to do the opposite of taking a derivative. We're going to do something called, we're going to take the integral. Integral. It looks like a little sideways S. You probably have seen these, maybe if you were scrolling through the calculus book, and you saw this little curvy S-type shape. You probably wondered what it meant. And it means it's the integral of. Integral is synonymous, meaning the same, has the same meaning, as an antiderivative. And when I first read the word antiderivative, it made me think, man, I'm antiderivative. You know what I mean? It made me think that people were against derivatives, but it actually means the opposite of a derivative. It means if I were to ask you what the antiderivative of 6x is, we would write that 6x with respect to x. That's why there's this extra dx in it. If I were to take the integral of 6x with respect to x, that's how I would say it, it would be 3x squared plus some constant. Some number that we don't really know because it could be any of these things. This is what an antiderivative is. An antiderivative, okay, this is called the constant of integration. It will be in all of our integrals. Very good. So let's look. We know how to take the derivative of this, right? We went 3x squared. To take the derivative, I would take this power, go 2 times the 3 and get the 6, and then I would subtract one of the exponents. So there has to be a way to go from a derivative back into the original function. There has to be some sort of method how we're doing the opposite. Well, I'm hoping that you'll be able to figure that out in just a little bit. But let's just look. If I'm taking the antiderivative of 6x with respect to x, that's how I read this, I would get 2 times 3 is 6x, and that matches up if I pretend to take the derivative of this side. Every time I take the integral of dx, I always remember to put the constant of integration. So let me see with a partner or the person you're sitting next to, see if you can figure this out, see if you understand. What is the integral of, what is the antiderivative of 10x dx? Solve that.